Hello, my name is Ron Guidry. As founder of PriceRightBlinds.com, I want to just take some time to help educate you so you can make a good comparison to the other blinds that you see in the marketplace. What I want to show you first right now is something that is with your standard blind. This is how your conventional blind looks. There's nothing new about blinds. They've been pretty much around from the old Venetian blind days. Things are still pretty similar. You have a slat, you have a ladder cord, you have your controls. In this particular blind, what's been made new about the features of it is that if you'll notice at the very bottom of the blind, we have a tapered bottom rail. Right down here in this area, you will notice that we have this bevel, which allows the blind, when it is tilted, to rock and roll with the blind to give a little better closure on the sill of your window. As we come up and look at the blind, this particular blind is what we call our Shopper's Choice Faux Blind. This is a faux material, means it's synthetic. It's a PVC polyvinyl chloride material. It's a new generation chemistry. It's one of the industry's lightest weight slats, and it is also one of the strongest. What that means is that you can go wider spans and have the comfortableness of knowing that that blind is going to stay flat over a long period of time. A lot of the wood blinds today have a little more tendency to cup and curve and warp than do the new generation faux materials. In the past, it was just the opposite. The faux blinds were always bending and bowing, and to curb that particular problem, a lot of the manufacturers would put extra ladder cords in a blind. Instead of having two, they'd have three, so as to add more support to the particular blind. In our particular blinds, we use fewer ladder cords than what's available in a lot of the most popular blinds because they're still using some of the old chemistry materials. But as we look at this particular blind, what we have are the standard controls on this, which are your cord controls. We like the cords on the tilters and such because the old plastic wand format uses a different tilter. It doesn't hold up well, and as most people know, they've had issues with them breaking and having these type of problems. But these here are the cord controls. They're 100% nylon cords. These particular blinds that we have, we do not use the plastic tassels. We use the wood tassels that give it a little more better weighted feel in the operation of the blind. Some things that you want to be making note of is that this particular headrail is a steel headrail. It's not your PVC type material that you'll find in your home improvement centers. If you go to one of those centers, you'll notice that they have a machine there with a bunch of blinds and boxes on the shelf where they can take those blinds out of the box, lay it on the machine, and then trim it to the size that you need. That particular blind has a PVC plastic headrail. This is steel. If you put a magnet to it, it would hold and grab. What you notice though in the home improvement blind is that when they cut your blind to the exact width that you need, they don't do anything about making it for the custom height. You may need a 60-inch blind and they may have only a 72-inch height blind. So what they're going to do is leave all the extra slats at the bottom so that it's going to stack up on you, and they won't take those out. They'll let you take those yourself, but it does get to be a little tricky in getting rid of that stack of slats that may be wanting to bunch up at the bottom. On all of our blinds, we custom make the height to what you need, and we take out the extra slats that may be existing. But there's some neat features about this blind that you don't see from just visual observation, and that's what goes up in here in this headrail. Now this is the part that I like about this particular blind, is that in dealing with shutters and blinds over my lifetime, I now spend a lot of time helping develop software for the blind and shutter industry. I go to the international window shows. I start seeing some of the products and components that are being made available that you may not see in the marketplace for another year or so. Well, one of the shows a couple of years ago, I discovered these components. No one else in this marketplace here in our area were using these components. We now have a local manufacturer that does. And here's what's unique about these particular components. The important feature in this blind, that's the heart and life of a blind, is the tilter mechanism. And we're going to try to get a little closer shot of this tilter so that you can see exactly how it is. It's totally enclosed tilter. No dust can get to it. The gear mechanism is larger, and it is lubricated. Most all the other tilters in the industry do not have these features. Now, what happens with a blind is that we all, children, adults, we get in a hurry and we'll grab one side of a control and we'll whip on it real hard. When we do that, the side that we're not holding flies up into this tilter mechanism. What can happen with all the other tilters in the industry is that they can foul up on the very front of this tilter. What that means is that there's a spool right up in here similar to what you would have on a fishing reel, open face fishing reel. And if you've ever been fishing and you cast and you get a backlash, you know what it is to try to get that tangle out. Well, a similar thing can happen with your blind. It can foul up, and then when you tighten it down, it locks and that tilter is no longer functional and it has to be replaced. And periodically we may have to replace 2 or 3 per 1,000 that get fouled up this way. But with this tilter being totally enclosed, it's more like a little Zepco reel in the front of that spool, because it doesn't allow that cord to fly out of control. It keeps it more contained in a certain area. Plus, because of the way that the tilter itself is designed, it has these diagonal outputs that keep the cords separated from each other to keep them from getting into a binding configuration. What happens then is that this is more of a trouble-free tilter. It doesn't give you the problems. It gives you better closure than most of the other blinds that are in the marketplace, and it's one that you can pull and overstress and work at. What happens, I find, that there's people in the industry, consumers, that they get the blind, they want it to tighten up absolutely as tight as it can, and so they really pull and overstress the tilters. And what happens on a lot of tilters is the gear mechanism cannot take that extra amount of pressure, and so then it will strip out. And this particular blind has a very strong tilter mechanism. It's designed where it doesn't have the tendencies to strip out, and so those that try to overstress it and pull on it tightly and such do not create a major problem immediately with the blind. Now, what's also included in this particular blind's feature is this is a dust cover that goes over the drum. The drum is the portion of the blind that will hold these ladder cords in place. With this dust cover in its position, it helps hold those cords over the drum so they don't have any kind of tendency to release and therefore quit functioning. Also, you have a 5-sided axle that connects the drums. It's a steel axle. It's a very well-built product. This is where the heart and life of your blind is what's in the components up here in the head rail. And with this particular product, there's a lifetime warranty on all the components. If you ever have a problem, you just need to contact us and we can get you the factory part for replacement. But the good news is we have very few opportunities to replace anything. Going back to this tilter, having problems with the other style of tilters in the past, we have the situation now that the tilter is one of the well-built products. It doesn't fail. We've got thousands of these blinds in the workplace functioning every day, and we've had 0 failures with our tilters. And so that's good news for us. We don't have the service calls. Good news for you, the consumer, because you don't have the blind that's not functioning at that point in time. So we really believe that this product has some great features. One of the best things that's happened to blinds over the years is that they've come out with different styles of valances that go into these products. In the past, all that was available was a simple double-beaded little valance right here. See if we can get a little shot of what this would look like. And you can see the shape and contour of it. Now, it's very simple. It's just 2 inches. It just barely covers the head rail of the blind. They came out with some things that were larger, more of a crown-molded valance, and they're real good as a change from what we had in the past. But if you notice on this one, it's held on with these external C-clips. And so those are things that are visibly seen on your blind throughout your home in all the windows. Well, now we have something even a little different and a little better. We have still a crown molded design, but this one is a solid extrusion, meaning it's not hollow in the back. It's a foam filled construction. It has a hidden route clip in the back. What that means is that we can attach the valance to the blind and you see none of the attaching points to it. So it's a very good looking feature. Plus, the advent of what's called returns on these valances. The return is this small piece that's on the end. It's a mitered piece, and it is designed to go on the window and just go out to the side a ½ inch and up above the top of the window about 1/4. What that does, it helps trap out the light that may try to come in over the top of the blind. and it gives a better light trap and keeping the blind from having some of the problems that we've had in the past. Having dealt with shutters all my life, I hated blinds because they never looked finished. It showed all the outside portion of the sheetrock opening. It had butt cut valances, similar to what you see in this particular piece. That means just square cut. And it was just put into the window with the sheetrock showing across the top. What we have now with this particular valance is a more finished look, more designer line features, and it's come to a point now where the blinds are a much more attractive feature competing with the look of shutters. So these are the things that you want to be sure of when you're dealing with the blind. You want to make sure that you are dealing with a quality slat material, that it has good UV protection, that not all slats that look like a faux slat all have the same long-lasting features. So you want to be able to check that as well. Check the tilter mechanisms. Make sure that it is working properly. These are very fluid, no gravelly, rough feeling in the tilting mechanism. It's designed to hold up and give you a lifetime of use and beauty as well. So these are just some of the features we want you to be aware of when you're looking for blinds.